It's 10 o'clock. We are all present. I'm glad you're here. We do have a quorum, so at this time we'll go ahead and begin our court. We'll call it to order at 10:01. Opening prayer by Pastor Martha Hagen-Smith. And before you pray, we have a request from one of our commissioners here, a special item.
We would keep Charlie Falcon. He's a county judge in Andrews County. Had a massive heart attack 2 weeks ago. They flew him from Andrews County to Dallas over the last week. He's got to have a heart transplant. So if we would keep him in our prayers, he's in my leadership class. So it kind of hits pretty close.
So let us go to God in prayer and remember Charlie this day. Almighty God, before we begin today's work, we pause to give you thanks for all that you continue to do for each and every one of us gathered here. You are the source of life and love, hope and peace, and we thank you for these blessings. We recognize your care for all of creation, and we pray that all of us, your servants, would join in loving Cooke County, the place that we call home, just as you love us, O God. Give our leaders courage to fight for justice and righteousness. Pour out your wisdom on all gathered here today. Give us eyes to see the needs all around us and respond in loving and caring ways. Help all of us who are in leadership to listen. First of all, to you, O God, and to the whole community and one another. Help all of us to speak out and amplify the voices of those in our county who are the most vulnerable and rarely heard, as we seek to live as good neighbors, as a family together. Open our hearts to love extravagantly all of your children. We lift up each agenda item and each community leader here today to you, O God. We also lift up Charlie. We ask that you guide doctors' hands and nurses. May they provide a healing touch. Work through all of them. We pray that our agenda would follow your agenda and that we live united as your beloved community. We pray that we would leave Cooke County even better than we found it, passing to the next generation a legacy of mutual care and unity that celebrates our diversity and bridges our divides. Bless all of us who call this place home and help us join you, O God, in making Cooke County a better home for all of us. And all God's children say, amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you very much for that. Commissioner Snuggs, if you would you lead our pledges?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Once again, thank everybody for being here. I hope this is a good court for all involved. Do we have any public comments on any agenda items? Anybody signed up?
We do not.
None at all. Item number 6 is the consent agenda. And the consent agenda includes non-controversial and routine items that the court may act on with one single vote. The judge or a commissioner may pull any item from the consent agenda in order that the court discuss and act upon it individually as part of the regular agenda.
Anybody want to pull anything?
I don't think so. I'm good.
Everybody good?
I'm good.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion, Commissioner Hollowell, to approve the consent agenda. Second, Commissioner Snuggs. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And there are none. The consent agenda passes 5-0. Item number 7 is to open a public hearing regarding a replat of lot number 6, Kiowa Oak subdivision in precinct 2. And we'll open this public hearing at 10:05. Is there anyone here to speak for that action?
I can speak for Mr. Weaver.
Okay.
He's the developer, and he's also still the owner of this tract. It's 10 acres. It's on the end of the cul-de-sac. It's just split into 2 lots. He's got buyers for 2 5-acre tracts, so that's all we're doing.
That's all it is?
All
Okay.
it is.
All right. Anybody else have anything to say for the replat of lot number 6, Kiowa Oak subdivision? If not, we'll close the public hearing at 10:01, or at 10:06, I'm sorry. Item number 9 is to deliberate and consider possible action regarding the replat of lot 6, Kiowa Oak subdivision in precinct 2.
Move to approve.
Okay, Commissioner Snuggs moves to approve, and I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. Item number 9, the replat passes 5-0. Item number 10, we'll open a public hearing regarding the request to vacate the Whitewater subdivision in precinct 2. And we'll open that at 10:07. Does anybody wish to have any comment on the vacating the Whitewater subdivision in precinct 2?
I can again.
Shelley, hand me your mic. Let me borrow your mic.
Okay.
Hang on, Kathy. Let me borrow.
Hang on just a second.
Here, I got it.
There you go.
I'm loud. This is 54 lots. They were all purchased by 3 separate individuals, and they just want to dissolve the whole subdivision since they own all the lots.
Where
This
is
is an old one.
It's a very old one. Okay.
It's pretty old, yeah. It's 97, almost 98 acres total. And they just want to dissolve it. They've all the owners have joined in the application.
And in that case, they're all more than 10 acres, and so it would,
Right, yeah.
All right. Sounds good.
be 33 acres apiece if they split it 3 ways, so it wouldn't meet the.
Yeah.
Are you done?
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else wish to comment on the vacating the Whitewater subdivision? There are none. We will close that particular public hearing at 10:09. Item number 12 is to deliberate and consider possible action regarding the request to vacate the Whitewater subdivision in precinct 2. Anybody?
No. Motion to approve. Sorry.
We have a motion to approve. Commissioner Snuggs.
Second.
Second, first I heard was Commissioner Arndt. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And there are none. Item number 12 passes 5-0. Item number 13, deliberate and consider possible approval or change or amendment to section 7.03.J.5 of the Cooke County subdivision regulations adopted January 18, 2019 regarding the color of road signs. I believe Commissioner Sicking has this one.
We've not been able to get the green blanks to make the new signs. Red is the only color we can get, so that's kind of where we are. You can buy big sheets of green, but it costs you a lot more than it does for the individual blanks.
Okay, can you think of any potential problem that might cause being red instead of green?
Lots of cities have red.
A lot of cities do
Okay. So it's not
It's not
unprecedented then? Okay.
Are we able to buy a red that's already in a size that's suitable, or do we still got to
They're
do?
6 inch by 36.
So
you
it's
can
cut them
cut
in
Okay.
two. We just been taking cut-offs on, splitting it in the middle.
Yeah, we've been splitting them with a table saw, and it's a nightmare. So that's big.
Table,
That's a
yeah.
good thing.
Oh, you're doing bigger sheets though.
Well, some of them green ones were
Yeah.
like this big. We have to split them.
Yeah, yeah. Is that a motion?
Do what?
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Second.
Motion.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Sicking to go ahead and use the green, or the green instead of the red, is that correct? The
Right.
red instead of the green, okay.
Well,
Or
I
use
guess we'll
both.
be using both of them.
Add
Okay.
red to the list.
Just add red to the list,
Right.
okay. That's motioned by Commissioner Sicking. Do I hear a second? And I believe you seconded that. Commissioner Snuggs? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. Item number 13 passes 5-0. Item number 14, deliberate and consider possible action to designate the day of the week on which Commissioners Court will convene for FY '24. Does anybody have anything to say about that?
I was thinking like Saturday morning at 5
Saturday
a.m.
morning, that'd be good.
The rest of the employees good with that? I'm teasing. I think it's good where it's at. It's been this way for a lot of years. And now that we stream, the public gets their opportunity to view every court, so.
Okay, is that a motion?
That's a motion.
All right, we have a motion to leave Commissioners Court,
Second.
Second and fourth Mondays.
second and the fourth Mondays of each month. Commissioner Snuggs, do I hear a second? Second, Commissioner Arndt. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? There are none. Item 14
Can I-
passes.
Can I say one more
Go
thing?
ahead.
I've had people bring it up to me wanting to,
Thank you, Kathy.
do it in the evenings or something, so, because people can get there. And I was like, well, the city council does it in the evenings because those are volunteer positions where, people are working during the day. We do it during the day, and we also have to have all of our staff around here. So you'd be calling in all of our staff to work overtime, And the streaming has cured that problem, but, I thought I'd make that a public statement.
But it would be costly to do it on the day.
It would be very costly to do
It'd be
it,
very costly, that's right. Well, thank you for that comment. Okay, item number 14 passed 5-0. That we leave Commissioners Court as is on the second and the fourth Mondays of each month. One other comment, there will be exceptions to that, but they'll be noted as the year goes along. For instance, holidays sometimes determine which day of the week the courts are. I think we'll see that possibly next month, but we'll wait until then to make that determination. All right, item number 15 is to deliberate and consider casting votes on ballot for Board of Directors of Cooke County Tax Appraisal District. Chelsea, tell me again, we have
1,158.
1,158 votes that we can use any way we wish to for the 5 candidates who are nominated for the tax appraisal board. And we can either split them up, or we can weight them differently, or however you guys want to do that.
Seems like last time we just dispersed them evenly.
Well, I think you got 5 people running, just split it up 5 ways and move on.
It may be, though, some of these smaller entities need some of our 1158. Did you get a split from Doug by chance, Judge?
Not an official split. In fact, I asked about that, and he didn't have those numbers right at on the tip of his tongue. However, he did mention that some of the smaller entities could probably use more of our votes to kind of even up the number of votes on the appraisal board itself. For instance, the ERA board, for instance, perhaps, or their board could perhaps use a few more votes than the Munster board, for instance.
But if you've got 5 positions, 5 people running, it's not gonna make any difference. is it?
It does, it's
Oh.
just, it's
I mean,
in appearance only, it's in,
Well, for instance, if we go give everybody 250, they need 877 votes. and
they need,
It's what they need, and I don't know that we get an opportunity to revote this thing. Usually we have some recommendation as to who needs help, and there's so many of them that are so small, if they don't combine right, then our 250 wouldn't be enough to get their candidate
I
elected.
don't understand, why would they need help? Why would we, I don't.
Well, you would have to take several of these and combine them to reach 877, because see, some of them have 8, 12, 130, 39, 135. It takes a bunch of those together to get
so if
877
one
votes.
candidate doesn't get the 800 votes, then what, do they go up for re-election again?
I don't-
mean,
We've never seen it happen because we've always taken care of it, Matt, prior to that. We had some idea what we needed to do. If you guys want to give them 200 and some votes apiece, sign me up.
I mean, this is
I mean,
new to me, so I really don't, I'm
I'll-
just asking questions. I mean, you got 5 candidates, 5 positions, I don't.
You could
Somebody
have,
will get
if
their
if they're not divided up properly, you could have somebody that doesn't get 877 votes. And we really don't have any idea, because we didn't get any numbers, how that's going to work out.
So they tell that candidate he can't be on there, and they got.
I don't know what they
somebody
tell
else
him.
gotta run.
I don't,
I mean,
you know, I
You
just,
know, it don't
No,
make sense.
it doesn't make any difference. Those 5 nominees that are on there now will be the nominees, okay? Regardless of how many votes they get. I think, what we're talking about is those numbers of votes there are what are necessary to confirm that position on the board, or it has been in the past. And some of the smaller entities could use some help with our votes, even though it doesn't make any difference in the long run or in the finality who's on the board. That doesn't make any sense, I know. But rather than have one candidate with 200 votes and another candidate with 1,200 votes sitting on the board, that's for appearance's sake probably more than.
I don't know why, but I've been told that they have to have 877 votes. So,
And that is true if there's a possibility of, well, that's true usually when there's more than 5 candidates. Okay, in order to be one of the final 5, you have to have at least that number of votes, which is
I'm good if
what
y'all
it
are.
takes to be
I don't,
I'm
I
good
think
if
if there
y'all
was
are.
an issue, Doug would have let us know.
Usually we get some idea, and I didn't ask him.
And I talked to him this morning, and there is no issue, so basically it's whatever you guys want to do.
I'd make a motion, we split our votes up evenly among the 5 candidates.
Okay, I don't think they'll split evenly, but
I say, is there one that y'all want to have one more vote? Like, is there one person? Because it doesn't add up equally.
Okay.
just roll the number.
Just pick whoever.
I mean, it's not gonna,
If it don't matter, it don't matter.
Should be 231.6.
all right, why don't we say this? Let's split them evenly, except for any votes that might be left over in that split there, go to the least nominee, whoever that might be, even if it's 1 vote, 2 votes, whatever it might be.
Okay, I'm not following you on that, but, I mean,
Well, let me see. If there's 1,100 all right, that's gonna be roughly what?
It's 231.6.
Okay,
We'll do it even.
So 231, 231, 231, and what?
You have 2.4 left or something like that.
You're gonna have .6.
4 times 2.4.
All right, 231 votes to the top four, and the extra 2 or 3 votes to the lower person. And that basically is what it amounts to.
So 1158.
Yeah, but I don't understand what you mean by the lower person.
The one
We
who,
need to pick a name so she can put it on.
the one who has the least amount of votes already.
But how do we know that?
We won't know that. I'm just saying, that's why I say, whoever is the least person on there,
You mean the smallest
the
district?
smallest, yes, gets whatever extra votes we might have, 2 or 3 extra votes,
B3.
after we split them. If that
The
happens to
city of
be
Galesburg
Ira,
would get
if
the
that
extra
happens
votes.
to be, Doug will know that.
You wanna do that, John?
Do what now?
According to this, the city of Callisburg would get the extra votes.
That'd be fine.
Levy, is that, I mean, is that what you're talking about earlier, Gary?
I don't like to assume anything, but in the past, for instance, Callisburg's joined with Callisburg ISD and somebody else, and they get enough votes to appoint an individual. That's how it usually works. But this time, I don't know who's combined with who, okay? Because if you look at the list, several of them have to join together to get X number of votes. But
Okay, right now there's 5 candidates. There's, if we divide our votes 5 ways, that's 231 votes per candidate with 3 left over. Let those 3 go to the one that has the least amount of votes on the board. Any questions?
That'll work.
Does that work? So one of the candidates gets 234 county votes, the rest of them get 231. Any questions? Then I'll make that as a motion.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Arndt. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? There are none. Item number 15 is determined 231 for 4 of the candidates, 234 for one candidate who has the least amount of votes already cast. All right, item number 16, deliberate and consider the possible action regarding placing mobile dual band radio at Munster City Hall and allowing it on the 700 megahertz core. There you are.
Snuck around.
Ray Fletcher, would you speak to this?
Good morning, sir. Ray Fletcher, Emergency Manager. We have a radio left over from grant purchase, dual band, and in an effort to start getting our incorporated smaller communities that were responsible for their emergency management planning up to speed. I would like to, in fact, the one that we have is a 100-watt radio, so I'll have it put in my vehicle and then take the 50-watt out of my vehicle and put it at Munster, is the plan.
Any questions of Ray?
I think as a court, we might want to kick that around just a little bit. I get how it's a spare and it's provided by TCOG. It would appear it wouldn't have any financial impact on us. The concern is if we have a radio go down in an ambulance, a law enforcement vehicle, that vehicle goes out of service. We've also used those spares in dispatch as part of our backup system. So if we go donate this and we need one, then it's going to come out of taxpayer dollars. So that would be a financial impact. To the best of my knowledge, we don't have any funding in the budget for radios at this point in time. So the other thing we have is probably a 6-month wait list before we can get another radio in here. So and there's no guarantees that we're going to get any additional grants. So what are we going to do when the other 4 municipalities come up is to give them radios? And if we're going to get grants, we have 0 handheld spares. We need to probably be applying for some spares for handhelds. So, and the dynamics are changing in this business daily. We may need a couple of radios in dispatch whenever Gainesville transition to 700 so that we can better communicate with them. We've got a couple of spares now that will go in new vehicles as they come in, but the vehicles that the radios are currently in will stay in service probably until the next new ones come in. So you would have a shortage of 2 radios if you didn't keep radios. So that's my thoughts on it, guys.
So we anticipate grants again this year. That's out of our Homeland Security grant monies that we are spending now, this year's money. And I believe there's 1 radio in there also. But that is an issue that I think we need to look at, is how do we manage and plan for the future? And how do we make sure that strategically we're looking at the bigger picture of all of our responder agencies and communities that we have to help out? And how do we manage that going forward?
And we went from 3 to 1, didn't we, Ray, on this last one? We
3
got 3, and then we went from 3 to 1 on the last grant, so they're downsizing, that sounds like.
The grant's been consistent around 25 to 30,000 is what we choose to spend it on. We got 2 one year, and I believe this was 1 the next year.
Yeah, so we may or may not get them, but if we do, we really do need to, now, it's court's decision, I mean, to help Ray, I mean, do you want to provide any handhelds? Do we need spare handhelds? Absolutely, we need them. So I don't know how you guys want to prioritize that, but if we give it to the cities, then it's coming out of our budget. And we've been talking about, hey, watch our budget, watch our budget. Well, this is one opportunity to take advantage of grant money and not pass it off to the taxpayer.
And whenever you originally were making a statement, you said 4 entities. We've got 5, don't we?
5, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, make sure I wasn't missing something.
currently, we've got $35,000 worth of radios out there on loan. If we follow the process of equipping their EOCs, that's another $35,000. So that's $70,000 worth of radios. Now, the cities, they're doing good. I mean, they're taking a pretty aggressive approach, and they're buying some radios. And in a bind, they could work off of a handheld with our current system on 700. And in addition, if we have a significant catastrophe, you're probably going to be running on VHF anyway, because more entities have VHF capability than they do 700 capability. So,
I think it'd be a good idea with them over there. I mean, say if our sheriff's department gets hit, we're gonna have a backup EOC. And I think that's what Ray's kind of looking at. Where is it gonna be? And I agree with the handheld side of it too, but you have, it's not like we can't maybe say, hey, we're in a bind, we need that radio, that we can call them and say, can we use that radio till we get one in?
well, you
are
have a
somewhat-
backup EOC already, and it's basically a mobile unit that's set up at EMS.
But we are responsible for the emergency management planning preparedness of those 5 communities. They signed up in 2001 with the county to do that function for them. And so a portion of those funds every year should be as best we can, and we may not be able to do it to the penny every year, but we may have to kind of spread them out as we have in the past. But it's a goal to keep that city up in an emergency management capacity for its own use, but they have put that toward the county to do that. And so we have that obligation
And I
to
see
make
us
sure
getting
that
a
they
better
are
position.
independently prepared and able to function.
I see when we get in a better position, absolutely. But at this point, I don't know that we're in a position to be doing that. And I didn't know we were doing it. I didn't have any idea that we were making the offer, so
We
I'd have
have-
weighed in a little sooner on this.
We have, for the last 20 years, provided them, their police departments and their city hall, at least, a radio to be able to function within hour, just as we did the fire departments. All our first responders had that capability.
And we've done that with VHF.
Sir?
We've done that with VHF, with
in the past.
And they
yes, sir.
have VHF capabilities as we speak,
Yes, sir.
okay? I get it. I think I understand that scenario. So, in a catastrophic event, they're going to be able to communicate with the majority of the entities.
Depending on what path is chosen to communicate.
Yeah. So, and
go ahead.
I'd rather see it sitting somewhere hooked up as to have it just sitting on a shelf.
well, that's a thought process. I think it would be highly underutilized versus having it, if we need it, ready to go on the street. And somebody's gonna have to pick up the tab for antennas, stuff of that nature. So I personally think it would be a waste of a huge asset.
I've got to agree with Adam on this. It's a huge waste of an asset to just have it sit in someplace. It needs to be used, I think. As the emergency management coordinator, what would be your recommendation? Was that what you read already, or?
Yes, sir. I would like to have it and start that process of getting the 5 incorporated communities in their emergency management preparedness up and running on all of our communications capabilities. Depending on what the event is, what's available to use. You know, if somebody chooses to use a 700 megahertz frequency, then that might be what's used. In the event of a disaster, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how bad it's going to be, what the impacts are going to be. But having the most robust capabilities we can in all those locations should be an advantage.
Judge, as the chief budget officer, you know, are you good with sticking $70,000 worth of radios out there?
I don't think we're talking about $70,000 of radio right now, today, are we?
No, sir.
You've
We're
got
talking about
35,000.
one radio today.
Well, you've got 35,000 out there now, one radio, well, they take it to 42.5, and why would Munster be any different than the other 4 incorporated areas? Do we not want to provide it to them? And if you guys want to do that, we can take these 3 or 4 that we got sitting around with plans to put in vehicles, and we can equip them all today.
That was gonna be my question, what prompted for it to start with Munster?
Do what, sir?
What prompted for it to start with Munster? Did you say that earlier? Okay.
Just the largest town, the most furthest away.
Okay, I figured that. I was just
Between
curious.
there and Valley
That's
View
what
are
it
probably our biggest exposures.
Valley View's probably got the most, well, we know they have the most activity.
Because I know that's what'll prompt is, well, why did Munster go first, or why did Callisburg go
Well,
first, or whatever?
they didn't all get them at the same time either. I mean, it's a process, and that's something that we need to start looking forward. Where are we going and how are we going to get there? And budget numbers and radios and capabilities and bandwidth and locations, all of those communications needs need to be better
Well,
coordinated.
radios, you can sure have mine back, my handheld, I mean, I use it during the fire, but other than that, it'll get used. So for her, I mean,
Well, and we do have, I know some of the commissioners do have the dual band radios, and I guess the argument could be made, they could talk on VHF also and wouldn't need a dual band, maybe, I don't know, but
Well, they're probably going to be one of your primary resources in a catastrophic event.
but if everybody was going to go to VHF, as you said, then it wouldn't matter.
You know, I mean, lots of ways to look at it, isn't it?
Yep. And to me, the most capable that everybody has, the better. We should always be trying to go down that path so we can all talk on all frequencies anytime if we have to. And situational awareness. If everything's happening on EMS and the sheriff's office and the disaster response initially is all on those, and then the other responders are left in the dark because they can't hear what's going on. It's a challenge that we need to work toward overcoming.
Just sheer numbers, doesn't Valley View handle about twice the calls of anybody else?
The police departments and the cities, I'm not positive what that would be.
Yeah,
They
I
handle
mean, if you
quite
go
a
back and
few.
look at the numbers when we were doing fire department budgets, they were
The fire
huge.
department does.
So, it goes back to dollars and cents, guys. I mean,
Well,
if
let
we-
me ask you again, you mentioned 4 or 5 radios that we have sitting around. What 4 or 5 radios were you talking about?
I'm talking about spares to go on patrol cars that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, we may need 2 near term to whenever Gainesville PD goes 700. to patch into our consoles. Like I said, there's a whole lot going on right now. We may get an opportunity to partner with Denison at some point in time. But guys, it's, it's whatever y'all want to do. We're setting precedent. It's going to cost money.
Well, okay, and I think, Ray, didn't you specifically say, let's start the process to get to where we
We should be,
need
yes,
to
sir.
Okay.
I don't think we're done. We can't
Right.
just put a stick in it and say, this is how it's gonna be and as good as it gets. There's a lot more to do.
You
Improvements
anticipate
to be
this is
made.
gonna be a long-term,
It always is.
Yeah.
It never stops. So
okay.
keeping an eye out on where we're going, how we're gonna get there, what that plan and process is something that should be continuously measured and improved and presented.
So
If we gave this radio to Munster, and let's say we used one of the 4 or 5 radios that we have as spares to Valley View, would that start the process going?
That is the process we should be moving forward, I feel, certainly, yes.
At what cost right now, today?
The one that is already here in the radio shop waiting to be installed is paid for with grant funds already. If we need a central focal focus moving forward, that's not a single person's decision or plan. That's a plan that is thought out and presented and constantly changed and updated as we move forward. And so that's my point. That's what I'm trying to get at, is that we need to better focus on what that is, where we're going, and that we plan for that accordingly. And it may not be next year that we can finish it, certainly. It's a never-ending plan. It's just how do we do it so that whatever we do is in benefit to what we've already gotten where we plan to go.
But my question is, okay, we have a radio available right now, and you recommended that go to Munster.
Swapping with the one in my vehicle and then that one going to Munster, yes.
And that's a wise decision.
And if we had 4 or 5 spare radios that are not being utilized for anything other than spares right now, did I get that right?
I don't know that.
Commissioner Hallwell, did I
No,
get
I don't
that
have a clue
right?
what's going on. I just hang out here, Jeff. I've lost what I know about radios. No, I think I've explained that a couple of times. So,
Okay.
and again, if we're going to follow that thought process, we need to take everything we've got in spares and put them in operation and risk something going down and deal with it as it goes down. If that's what we want to do, that's the path we're taking.
Well, what I've heard so far today is Munster was
That's-
recommended. I've heard that Valley View has a need for one, probably more so than Munster. So if we took one of the spares for Valley View and then started the process for getting the other radios too, we could do that today without spending any extra money, could we not?
What
Depending
is the
on
process for getting the other ones?
where they're allocated, if they're already allocated to something that's coming up right away, then
Now, we're
I'm
just trying
not
to be
sure.
proactive. They're not allocated, right?
Well, I don't think it's imprudent to have a spare
Yeah.
on the shelf, but I'm not sure.
But we've had as many as 2 or 3 go down at a time. And that sets 3 law enforcement units on the side, unless we've got something to
I
put in
didn't
them.
know, in the new radios?
Yeah, we had some programming issues
Okay.
initially.
Yeah, and
But we had
in
some
the
warranty.
past, we always had one back in the office I could
Yeah,
put
we've
back
had
out
some
there.
warranty issues, and we sent them back. And we put spares in them, just like the 2 consolettes that we used back behind dispatch for a while. Those consolettes are transmitters. We use 2 back there. So if a consolette goes out, then we've got a mobile radio that we use for that.
Do you foresee any grant money coming?
We have continued to get between 25 and 30,000 a year in Homeland Security grant funds that we can use. We've been parsing that between EMS and the sheriff's office for other equipment needs that they have, as well as try to get one radio at least. At $1,500 a radio, we were able to do more with that. We're not able to do quite as much with it with the new radios.
Anybody have any idea how many mobiles we have out there?
That's a you question.
7,800?
Yeah,
Well, I think it's in our next deal.
there's 60 of them. There's actually 150 on the system, but that's the next deal. So how many spares do you need when you got 60 radios out there? I don't know.
Now, we previously had a lot more of that in the VHF out there, and we typically had one spare back for a county vehicle.
Yeah. Of course, we could reach out and touch VHF. We didn't have supply chain issues that we have now. And you got $1,000 radios versus $7,500 radios.
I just want to make sure I understand. Okay, so we have one radio that our emergency manager is telling us could go into Munster right now. They need the radio, and it's right now not being used somewhere else, right? Right now it can go
Yes.
to Munster. We have, did my ears deceive me, or do we have 4 or 5 radios that are simply sitting somewhere as spares that could be utilized by somebody who really needs one? Is that,
Okay, do you
Close
want,
to
do
truth.
you want radios on the shelf when the new cars come in, Judge?
do
Are
what now?
Do you want radios on the shelf when new cars come in? And if we don't do that, then have you got $15,000 in your budget to buy new ones?
My point is, if we have 4 or 5 spares and we have people that need radios right now, why isn't at least one of those, 2 of those, used where they're really needed right now, rather than sitting on a shelf someplace?
Is it
Is
needs
my
or is
point-
it wants, Judge? And
Do what?
is it needs or is it wants? And again, if, yeah, as a chief budget officer, where you gonna, all right, you go, you take 2 spares, take 5 spares. You go designate them to Oak Ridge, Valley View, Callisburg, and those places. Okay, you've exhausted those radios. If we have a need, we're gonna go back and say, wait a minute, the COC that we was taking care of you on, well, we gotta go pull your primary source communications out and go put it in the car we need. Or you order them, you wait 6 months to get one, and you spend $7,500 taxpayer dollars versus grant money to replace it.
Okay, how many spares do we have that are sitting doing nothing?
I would actually want to go count them because we've sent a couple over to the sheriff's office, and I don't want to misrepresent it. At one point in time, we had 0 spares. The reason we have spares is, well, actually 3 spares, is there's not one in your vehicle, and we didn't issue them to the hospitals because we didn't see that there was actually a need for the hospitals. That's 3 that comes to mind. So we can deplete them all. I mean,
I don't think I ever recommended depleting all of them. I think I recommended 1 or 2 of the 4 or 5 that we have that are spares going to somebody who needs them.
well, how about we put one on the east side?
How many police departments do we have? We have Munster, Bellevue,
5.
Oak Ridge.
Lindsay? 4.
Well then, yeah, Scottsburg doesn't have a,
But they have an EOC where we provided a generator, if I'm not badly confused, and a radio. Because
And that was-
have we provided generators for all of them, right?
We made them available, but Oak Ridge chose not to because of the match. So the 4 others do, and that was always the goal, was their city halls or their location with the radio communications and a generator was always available as either their independent incident command site or at any given time could certainly be used for a larger incident command at the county or state level. And we would have those then geographically located southeast, west in all of the county.
And they wouldn't be dispatching law enforcement and EMS from a city operation anyway.
Could.
You know.
I don't know that. I mean, it just depends on the issue and what happens.
Do we need to eliminate the one in the EOC and go give it to one of the cities?
I don't think we do. That would be our backup for the county as a whole, that we have a primary and a backup.
We've kicked this horse.
Okay, well, once again, as the emergency manager, and we've taken way too much time on this already, as the emergency manager, what would your recommendation be? Let's carry it a little farther than just sending one to Munster. What would you like to see happen right now with your experience as our emergency management coordinator for the county?
I think we have an obligation to those incorporated communities that have contributed a portion of that Homeland Security funding to us, to the county, to help manage and assist them in the event of a disaster. If that disaster is strictly at Munster, then they should still have the capability to deal with it in Munster. The overall communications capability should be interoperable in that, really, for the most part, unless there's something very secretive going on with the sheriff's office, that if it's happening, everybody should be able to hear it and know about it. That doesn't mean they all speak on those frequencies at any given time. They still would stay on theirs, but the situational awareness part and trying to manage that. So my goal would be to continue to provide that opportunity or that capability to them as we have in the past. At this point, we have at least one radio that I know of that is available to be used, and I think the appropriate use would be to put it at Munster, and then the next on our list would probably be Valley View. There's just more help, even though they're a little busier down there, there's more help kind of in that general vicinity in the south end of the county that they have available to them that Munster doesn't have, a little more isolated on the west side of the county. There's not as much help coming from Montague County as there may from Denton County. So that's my opinion right now on where I think we need to go, and then continue down that path in the future.
You do highlight something there, Ray. If the sheriff's office does have anything secret going on, this radio's going to be sitting in some type of public area, conference room.
The 700 megahertz frequencies already are not secret. Anybody with a scanner or on a computer can monitor any of our communications at any time right now. So that wouldn't really matter.
Keep TAC channels out, yeah.
Right.
So if we were to say, let's send a radio to Munster, a radio to Valley View, of the spares that we have in existence right now, would it be fair to say we could do that without costing the county any money today?
I don't know who, certainly with the one that we have to Munster, yes, or that radio,
Okay.
I think so, but the other radios, I'm not privy to who they've been earmarked for, who was considering them as part of their possible budget this year.
Well,
That they're-
according to Commissioner Hollowell, they're sitting on a shelf.
Judge, I can fix this.
Okay, go.
You are now the man over radios. You can
No,
keep-
you don't make those designations.
Well, you sat here and made Adam the designation
I
over
did
fires.
not.
You absolutely did. But anyway, it's moot. You can give it to whoever you want to, Judge. I'm trying to help. I've done the best I can do, and I'm telling you, it's getting ready to change some more.
Okay, and listen to me. What I'm trying to say is there's people that need radios. Is that correct? Munster, Valley View, if we put radios in those two places, that would probably be well worth the money. Is that?
I feel that way, yes,
There's
sir.
not going to be any of those radios, anybody respond to them to a catastrophic event. In other words, not going to be an EMS person or a law enforcement person. And probably the sheriff's office could use some and equip some other people that we've helped out on up to this point. But anyway, again, I apologize for dragging it out.
No, that's all
Call your
right.
vote, Judge.
No, you,
Well, I think the individual entities have their responsibilities also, but again, that for 22 years, they have allowed the county to receive their Homeland Security funds to be used for their preparedness.
And what portion is that, right?
Right? It divided up by population is typically how we do it.
And why don't we just then, if we're going to do it this way, why don't we let each of them have their portion?
Because as a group, it's easier to spend it and make it a better strategic capability than for someone to choose different things that they might need that don't necessarily fit the bigger picture for everyone, for the
But, you know,
overall.
do we take the county's financial position into consideration from where we have been in the years, which has been a pretty good position, into today's?
My discussion is the grant-funded radio that's available. I don't, you all make that decision
But that's
on
going to take
bigger
care of one
picture
city.
fundings.
You're
These
talking
others
about
are coming out of
today?
tax dollars. The other four are
Well,
coming
they're
out
all
of tax
tax
dollars.
dollars.
Okay. One of them's
Just-
grant money.
Yes,
That came to state, the other one came out of the Cooke County property owner's pocket.
right.
Okay, so you're talking about the Munster radio.
Yes,
The
sir.
agenda item today is to take that spare radio, give it to Munster, and that's what we're talking about on this agenda
Yes, sir.
today.
That's not what this agenda item says. It doesn't say, it's considered regarding interlocal, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong agenda item. It doesn't say we're giving them anything. It says we're allowing them to place a mobile unit. Well, that's already in our interlocal agreement. This doesn't say we're doing anything with the county asset.
Is it a spare
It's the one that he got.
from the
It's,
grant?
it's the
From
grant-funded
So it has nothing to do
radio.
with the others that we have.
Right.
No, sir.
We're talking about,
But again, unless you need to replace one, then you're gonna pay for it out of county dollars.
But but we wouldn't have this one if it wasn't for the grant.
And
Yes.
then what are you gonna do next year if you don't get a grant? Oak Ridge and the rest of them sitting out there waiting on the radio.
That's
Part of the deal.
That's,
I make the motion, we give the radio to Munster City Hall where they want to put it.
Thank you.
And swapping out the vehicle,
Swapping yours out.
Yes.
With the 100 watt, giving them your 50 watt.
and that's where we started, and I'll second that. Any further discussion?
I
All in
just-
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Ah. And you need to figure out who you want to designate as the point of contact for radios.
Was that an opposed?
I opposed it, yeah.
Okay, okay.
Knowing the
I
big
didn't-
picture,
I wanted to make
it
sure.
doesn't make sense. So, but if we're gonna have everybody in the world, never mind, you need to find somebody you wanna give that to.
Okay, item number 16 passes 4-1, one opposition, Commissioner Hollowell. Item number 17, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the interlocal agreement between Denton County and Cooke County for a consolidated communication system for public safety and government services. Commissioner Hollowell.
It's there, you guys can see it, it's an interlocal. You can approve it or not approve it. If you choose not to approve it, then I will. I'm reasonably confident you'll be dead in the water.
Well, what is your recommendation?
I kind of feel like my recommendation doesn't make a whole lot of difference, but, you know,
Well, of course it does. It's your,
what do you guys want to do? Y'all can read just like I can.
what would your recommendation be? You want to make that in form of motion?
Uh,
I'll make a motion to accept it.
Thank you, Matt.
second.
We have a motion, Commissioner Sicking, we have a second, Commissioner Snubbs. Item number 17, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. Item number 17 passes 5-0. Item number 18, deliberate and consider possible action on the updated revised Cooke County Library 5-year long-range plan, 2023 to 2028.
Good morning, you guys. You've all seen it, but I also gave you physical copies in case there's a problem looking at it online. Gary and Matt and I met 2 weeks ago, I think already. it's
Put the
been.
gloves on, fought like cats and dogs to handle that
We were bringing
conflict.
it back to today.
Okay, I think we met on a Monday, 2 weeks ago, I think. And so I adjusted and made some revisions. Gary had one other concern, but I really want to keep in the term in the in the conclusion where it talks about maintenance of effort. He said that just seems strange to him, but it is a common business term and a term that other organizations in the state government use. It has to do with return on investment for money, and most businesses use you know, an MOE, so I would like to keep the maintenance of effort term in there. But everything else, I didn't hear from anybody else. Ed just told me now it looked fine, again with him. So I'm asking that we pass it and you guys sign it this time, and then we bring it back every year like Matt requested. And that we can make changes yearly if we need to, but at least I've got a document so I can start furthermore, or move further on the grants that I've got.
Okay, just for the record, this is a 5-year plan, but it's.
That will be approved
renewed
every year
every
by
year
Commissioners Court.
And possibly updated every year.
Yes, depending
Okay.
on if things need. It's just, for a plan, it's just to give me a direction.
Sure.
It's goals, it's what the community wants. If I had to go out and survey the community, which is what a plan really is supposed to do in this case, if I had to do that every year, that would be very costly on my time. It would be, you know, I don't mind doing it, but it would take away from other things that are more important and that I need to do. So unless there's something that's really crazy that changes in a year, I don't see that being an issue. I just see it needing approved because of the concern about for future courts. So,
I make the motion to approve, Judge.
Second.
Commissioner Hart makes the motion to approve, second Commissioner Hollowell.
No, Snugs.
Was it Snubbs? Okay, I'm sorry. Motion, the second is Commissioner Snubbs. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? There are none.
thank you.
Thank you.
Chelsea the one that you guys can sign. So it doesn't have to, oh, okay.
Yeah, I
just
printed
didn't
one
want
off
it.
the list, Fran.
Okay, thank you.
Item number 19.
I'll give it to you.
All right, thank you very much, you guys.
All right, item number 19, discussion regarding elevator maintenance contracts.
Good morning, everybody. I put this on here, wanted this put on here, mainly just to bring to your guys' attention a couple of things, and maybe not even do anything about it today, but our elevator maintenance agreement has come up, maintenance contract has come due with Otis Elevator for the elevator here at the courthouse. And we've had this contract with them ever since I've been here, more than 20 years. And the positives with Otis Elevator is that when their techs come, they know what they're doing. They're very, very good at what they do, and they can take care of whatever needs to be done. The negatives are that dealing with Otis from a business perspective is anything that needs to be done within the contract is not a problem at all. If there is some work that needs to be done outside the contract, they require us to have the money in their hand before they'll even order a part. Even if that means the elevator is down for a while. And they're solid on that. They won't give from that. So I called 5 different elevator companies to try to get just some other quotes on it, see what we're looking at. Only one of them responded. They are the elevator company that we got to do the inspection on the elevator at the Crest building so that we could finish that up. They were way cheaper than Otis's price was on that. So you have, I think you have the paperwork there that shows what the difference between the Otis Elevator annual contract and the Bagby Elevator Company contract. We're talking about the courthouse elevator at this point. Otis's is $4,800. Bagby elevator is $2,400. Best I understand from both of them, Bagby will actually come more often. Otis comes quarterly to check the elevator out. Bagby will come every 2 months and check it out.
Why is the Prosperity building so much higher?
There's 2 elevators. So it's $200 per month per elevator is what it amounts to. Except for the annex. The annex is higher. It's a different type of elevator. These are hydraulics. The courthouse and the Prosperity Bank are hydraulic elevators. That one is something else. I don't know what. It's like a belt-driven. And they said the replacement parts on that elevator at the annex is much more expensive. So that's why that price is higher. But I looked at the Schindler elevator contract for the annex that we have, and it was $6,800. That's how much we're paying for it. It don't expire until the end of January in '24. So we got a little time on it. This company, Bagby Elevator, is a company they're not nationwide, but they go from Florida across the southern states to Arizona. Everything I can find about them, they're a reputable company. In addition to that, I just now got these prices. I haven't had a chance to let anybody look at the contract. Somebody smarter than me is going to have to look at the contracts and make sure that everything's like it's supposed to be. But just verbal conversation with their rep. If an elevator goes down, they will do what they need to do to get it going again. And then we'll talk about pricing and billing and that sort of thing. With Otis, if it goes down, it's down.
But if we have something wrong, then we're charged more than the $200 a month.
Yes, in addition to that. We're charged at a rate of $200 per hour.
On here, it's showing from $135 to $510.
Okay. Well,
Is that Bagby or Otis? I'm sorry.
that's Bagby.
Bagby.
Otis's hourly rate is based on $400 per hour for service outside of the contract. Service.
So for fiscal year '23, we've spent $24,898 with Otis and $13,108 with Schindler. And Schindler is on strictly the annex,
The
right?
annex, yes.
So we pay, like for the annex, we paid $68.60 for the maintenance contract, and then the $7,000 was any maintenance that needed to be done, any repairs that need to be done.
Right.
Part of that large Otis bill would have been repairing the Crest building, correct?
$19,750.
Yeah.
Did
But,
Bagby do,
Bagby did the inspection at the Crest building.
that's what
Yeah.
they were responsive to that, yeah.
Right. It just appeared to me to be an opportunity to save some money, and that's why I'm bringing it before y'all. Let everybody that needs to look at it, and if we don't need to make a decision today, that's fine. I don't think we're in a hurry, but
When do we need to,
well, the Otis contract is up now. I mean, we have an invoice for it, we haven't paid. So we either need to pay them or make a decision to go a different direction. I don't know that we're in a hurry. I mean, we just won't have a contract until we do something.
so if you take the repair from the Crest building off, we spent $5,148 with Otis.
We leave Otis at the courthouse and try Bagby on it. We do that, that'd be separate.
You can.
See what,
So the Otis service maintenance contract was $42.55 for '23, and it's $44.67 for '24.
what was your question again?
leave Otis with the courthouse. Try Bagby with the annex
With the annex building or the Prosperity Bank?
It'd be Prosperity, because
Prosperity.
Schindler does the annex. I mean,
Yeah.
unless,
Well, and their contract's not up yet.
yeah.
Well, the only difference is that is a Schindler brand elevator. And so Schindler has the contract on it, but the rep from Bagby said they work on all elevators anyway, doesn't matter. I mean, all companies can get all parts, you know.
Could Bagby handle everything, do you think?
Yes, I don't have any reason to think that they're not a reputable
So
company, large enough.
they were responsive to us
Yes,
more so than Otis when it came to the Crest building.
well, not more so, but the price was a whole lot different. Otis wanted $3,450 to do the inspection on the elevator at the Crest building, and Bagby did it for $1,050.
You know, didn't notice for a long time there, we didn't know when they were gonna come and do the inspection and.
Well, it was the work that they had to do. They had to order
Yeah,
parts.
that's what it was.
It was ordering parts. It really wasn't their fault.
Yeah,
Parts were tied up in Canada and they couldn't get them, and that's why we had to wait all summer to get the work done. But I don't have a problem with Otis at all. I mean, they do good work and they're a good reputable company. It's just that they have priced themselves way up at the top of the heap, and I just think we can get the same service for a better price
from Bagby,
from Bagby, yes.
okay, on everything other than Schindler, would you recommend leaving Schindler on the, or can Bagby handle?
Bagby
Schindler?
says they can handle all of them.
The maintenance contract with Schindler is $6,860. For 23, I'm sure it goes up for 20.
Yeah, we haven't got the new one yet because it's good through January of next year. The Schindler one is,
Seems pretty easy
That's
to
about
leave it.
6 weeks.
yeah, right.
It's
It
hard
won't
to
be long.
think that it's already
I know,
Christmas.
yeah, it won't be long.
Wow.
Yeah.
Seems to me that it would make sense to go with Bagby for everything then.
The only in my mind, the only reason you wouldn't is if you just don't know. We don't know. We don't have a track record with them. The only thing we have is the one inspection.
Have we checked any references, Rick?
I'm sorry.
Have we checked any references?
I haven't called anyone that uses them. I've looked online, and they have stores or businesses, locations all the way from Florida to Arizona. And other than that, no, I have not checked any deeper than that.
I've heard maybe their customer service is lacking a little bit, but they look like they're,
Yeah.
best for the money.
Well, I called 5 different companies. They're the only ones that called me back.
That sounds to me like their customer service was the one that came through for
Yeah,
us. so.
they're very professional.
Yeah.
Everybody that I've talked to and dealt with, I have nothing negative to say about them at this point. But like I say, we don't have any track record with them at all.
Well, I'll make the motion that we just go with Bagby for all our needs and.
Well, this isn't this is a discussion item.
Pardon?
This is only a discussion item.
Oh, okay, that's right. All right.
We could ask for some references, but I don't see any on their website.
I mean, never hurts, and I'm not
You wanna bring this back
dissing them
next-
at all.
That's what we've got to anyways, it's just a discussion.
We'll have to, if y'all want to consider it, then we'll have to bring it
In the
back.
meantime, we gotta pay the Otis bill, right, it's due now?
Not necessarily.
Okay, I thought you,
Contract,
Well, it's due, but if we don't pay it, we just don't renew the contract.
okay, but we pay our bills, so it's due now?
Well, if we do that, then you can't go to Bagby for the courthouse,
Right.
because this is a maintenance agreement.
Okay,
So we can just hold this. If we want to hold it a month and then pay it, then that's when the agreement starts. The new contract starts
Okay,
for Otis.
so if we bring it back,
We can bring it back in 2 weeks and that'll be fine.
okay, as a action item, not a discussion item?
Right, right.
All right. Anybody have any thoughts? In the meantime, could you check?
I'll check all the references I can find and
Okay.
see what I can find, and we'll all let maybe our county attorney or whoever look at the contract, make sure that's all okay. Like I said, I just got this last week, this end of the week. So,
Okay. Shelley, what do you know about it?
I just asked on purchasing with service if anybody has any dealings with them.
Okay.
I don't know anything about them.
Okay. Well, Chelsea, let's bring it back in 2 weeks as an action item then. Thank you, Rick. Item number 20 is item number 19 was discussed. Item number 20, deliberate and consider possible action regarding landfills. Commissioner Sicking.
We hear back from Eric.
Still haven't heard back. I was gonna actually call him today again to see if maybe he was in the office. I know he's been out since like a week or two. He's been out of his office, so. But I did email him and called him and nothing yet. So I was gonna try and call him again today.
Are we trying to get him here for the workshop?
We're trying. Is there another date that you guys wanna look at if he can't do the 20th?
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't pay an attorney by the hour till this group decides what their options are. He can't do that for us. We need to have some locations prepared for him, I would think, instead of pay him hundreds of dollars an hour to sit
A
here.
couple of them, we can pick a date,
I get the workshop, but I think this group ought to have a workshop before they pay an attorney hundreds of dollars an hour to listen to us sit up here and hash. If we know what the guidance is, right now the guidance from him is go find a spot, right? And he can't do anything until we can suggest that. And before we suggest that, we're probably gonna wanna talk to a property owner, to have some idea. What do you think about that, Judge?
I've been talking to a couple of them. No action.
Item number 20 is no action. Item number 21, deliberate and consider possible action regarding Main Street parking lot. Commissioner Sicking.
We're still waiting on them to get their couple signs in, and then we'll be through with it, so no action.
Okay. Item number 21 is no action. 22, deliberate and consider possible action regarding real property on Highway 82.
No action.
22 is no action. 23, deliberate and consider possible action regarding broadband services.
No action.
23 is no action. 24, deliberate and consider possible action regarding various grant funds.
I've gotten the approval from TxDOT to go ahead and submit for reimbursement, so those are in the works.
CTIF, Shelley.
Yes. Oh, and, I don't know why, but FEMA sent us a deposit on one of the roads submitted for precinct 3. And Adam has to be very careful how he spends it, because it was 2 cents.
Is
2 cents?
2 cents.
Don't even buy bubble gum.
I wonder.
2 whole cents.
What kind of stamp did they put on that?
It was direct deposit, so they didn't have to
Oh,
mail it.
Man, I don't know what I'm gonna do with that.
Be careful how you spend it.
Be careful.
One rock.
No,
I don't think you can spend it.
not in this day and time.
It's a little rock.
No, that's in Arkansas. Okay, 24 is no action at this time. Item number 25, at this time, we are going to go into executive session. It is now 11:15, so if I could ask that we clear the courtroom. 25 was the executive session. We will end the executive session at 11:53. Item number 26 is deliberate and consider possible action regarding consultation with attorney regarding proposed actions and advice to the court real property contracts being negotiated or any personnel matters, and there is no action on item number 26. Brings us to item number 27. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Item number 27 is motion to adjourn. We have Commissioner Arndt making that motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Snuggs. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? There are none. Item number 27 for adjournment
Y'all have
passes
a lovely day.
5-0. Good luck at your doctor's appointment.